Welcome back to the evidence room, where the cold cases never sleep. Today's mystery? The most infamous unsolved serial killer in American history. A man who murdered at least 5 people, taunted police with cryptic letters, threatened to blow up school buses filled with children, and then just vanished. For 57 years, his identity has remained one of the world's greatest mysteries. They call him the Zodiac Killer. Between December 1968 and October 1969, he terrorized Northern California in a spree of calculated murders that paralyzed the San Francisco Bay Area. He killed 3 young couples and a taxi driver. 2 victims survived to tell their stories, and in July 1969, he introduced himself to the world with 4 words that would haunt America for decades. This is the Zodiac speaking. But here's what the FBI doesn't want you to know. In 2025, a senior FBI agent allegedly revealed that they've had a suspect's DNA in their database since 2016. His name? Gary Francis Poste, a California house painter who died in 2018, possibly taking the secret to his grave. The FBI has never publicly confirmed Poste as the Zodiac, but independent investigators claim the evidence is overwhelming. And in December 2020, after 51 years, codebreakers finally cracked the Zodiac's most infamous cipher, the Z340. What it said sent chills down investigators' spines, but we'll get to that. First, let me take you back to where it all began, a cold December night in 1968, when 2 teenagers went on a date and never came home. December 20th, 1968, Lake Herman Road, Benicia, California. David Fairday, 17, and Betty Lou Jensen, 16, parked in a remote gravel lot in David's mother's Rambler. It was their first day. Around 11:15 p.m., a car pulled up behind them. Someone got out and opened fire with a .22 caliber semi-automatic pistol. Betty tried to run. She was shot 5 times in the back. David was found beside the car with a bullet in his head, still breathing but dying. Investigators believe the teenagers were random targets, killed by a stranger for unknown reasons. 6.5 months later, July 4th, 1969, the killer struck again. Blue Rock Springs Park in Vallejo, just 15 minutes from the first attack. Darlene Farron, 22, a waitress and new mother, sat in her car with Michael Majot, 19. Around midnight, a car approached with a bright spotlight. The driver got out, walked to the passenger side, and opened fire with a 9mm pistol. Darlene was shot 5 times and died at the hospital. Mike survived 4 gunshot wounds and gave police their first description of the killer. But here's where it gets chilling. 40 minutes after the shooting, a man called the Vallejo Police Department from a payphone. His voice was calm, almost casual. "I want to report a double murder. If you go 1 mile east on Columbus Parkway, you will find kids in a brown car. They were shot with a 9mm Luger. I also killed those kids last year. Goodbye." The call lasted less than a minute. Police traced it to a car wash payphone 3 blocks from the police station. The Zodiac was taunting them. September 27, 1969, Lake Berryessa in Napa County. Brian Hartnell, 20, and Cecilia Shepard, 22, were having a picnic when a man approached wearing an executioner-style hood with a white crosshair symbol stitched on the chest. He carried a gun and a long knife. He claimed to be an escaped convict who needed their car and money. Then he pulled out pre-cut rope and tied them up. What happened next was the most brutal attack yet. Brian was stabbed 6 times in the back. Cecilia was stabbed 10 times. She died 2 days later. Brian survived. The killer calmly walked to Brian's car and drew the crosshair symbol on the door with a marker. Beneath it, he wrote the dates and locations of his previous attacks: Vallejo 12/20/68, 7/4/69,
Sept 27, 69, 6:30 by knife. Then he called police from another payphone to report a double murder and confess, "I'm the one that did it." Brian Hartnell is still alive today, one of only 2 Zodiac survivors. October 11, 1969, the Zodiac's final confirmed kill. Paul Stein, a 29-year-old cab driver, picked up a fare in San Francisco. The passenger asked to be taken to the intersection of Washington and Cherry Streets in Presidio Heights. When they arrived, the passenger shot Paul once in the head at point-blank range with a 9mm pistol. Then he tore off a piece of Paul's blood-stained shirt and calmly walked away. 3 teenagers witnessed the aftermath and gave police a description: white male, stocky build, reddish-brown hair, glasses. 2 police officers actually encountered a white male walking away from the scene, but dispatch had mistakenly described the suspect as black, so they let him go. The Zodiac escaped by mere seconds. 3 days later, the San Francisco Chronicle received a letter. It began, as always, "This is the Zodiac speaking." The letter included details only the killer could know, and a piece of Paul Stein's bloody shirt as proof.
But the letters weren't just confessions, they were challenges. On July 31, 1969, 3 Bay Area newspapers, the San Francisco Examiner, Chronicle, and Vallejo Times-Herald, each received identical letters containing 1/3 of a 408-character cipher. The Zodiac demanded the ciphers be printed on the front page or he would go on a killing spree. The newspapers complied. On August 8th, a school teacher named Donald Harden and his wife Betty cracked the code in just 20 hours. The message was chilling. "I like killing people because it is so much fun. It is more fun than killing wild game in the forest because man is the most dangerous animal of all." He claimed that his victims would become his slaves in the afterlife. The cipher ended with, "I will not give you my name because you would try to slow down or stop my collecting of slaves for my afterlife." Then came the Z340 cipher, 340 characters, a seemingly random symbol sent in November 1969. For 51 years, it resisted every attempt at decryption. The FBI, NSA, professional cryptographers, amateur sleuths, no one could crack it. Until December 2020, a team of 3 code breakers, David Orenchak, Sam Blake, and Jarl Van Ast, finally solved it using advanced computer algorithms. The message? "I hope you are having lots of fun trying to catch me. I am not afraid of the gas chamber because it will send me to paradise all the sooner." The Zodiac wasn't just a killer. He was a narcissist who believed murder would grant him eternal reward. So who was the Zodiac? Over 2,500 suspects have been investigated since 1969. The most famous? Arthur Lee Allen, a Vallejo school teacher and convicted child molester. In the 1970s, Allen became the only person publicly named by police as a suspect. The circumstantial evidence was damning. He allegedly told a friend before the murders that he wanted to call himself Zodiac and kill people. He owned the same type of gun and ammunition. Witnesses said he resembled the composite sketches. He wore a Zodiac brand watch with the crosshair symbol. But in 2002, DNA analysis from the Zodiac's letters officially excluded Arthur Lee Allen. The DNA on the stamps from the killer's saliva didn't match. Allen died in 1992, never charged, never cleared. For decades, the case went cold, until 2018, when independent investigators known as the Case Breakers made a stunning claim. They believed the Zodiac was Gary Francis Poste, a California house painter who died that year. Their evidence: witnesses who claim Poste confessed to the murders, forehead scars that allegedly matched eyewitness descriptions of the Zodiac. And here's the bombshell: In 2025, an FBI agent allegedly told investigators that Poste had been listed as a Zodiac suspect in FBI computers since 2016, with his partial DNA profile secured at the federal lab in Quantico, Virginia. If true, that means the FBI has had DNA evidence pointing to Poste for 9 years and never told the public. The FBI has never officially confirmed Poste as the Zodiac. Critics point out that no witnesses in 1969 described the killer as having forehead scars. The DNA from the letters is only a partial profile, not enough for a definitive match, and the case-breaker's claims remain unverified by law enforcement. But here's what we know. As of 2025, police are actively using forensic genetic genealogy, the same technique that caught the Golden State Killer, to analyze Zodiac evidence. DNA technology has advanced exponentially since 2002. If Poste was the Zodiac, genetic genealogy could prove it.
In 2019, Vallejo police announced they'd obtained a genetic profile from submitted evidence. In 2025, that work continues. The closest police have to the Zodiac's DNA are stamps he licked to mail his letters. It's only a partial profile, but it might be enough.
So what really happened to the Zodiac Killer? Did he die? Get arrested for another crime? Simply stop killing and fade into ordinary life? The truth is, nobody knows. His last confirmed letter was received in 1974. In it, he claimed to have killed 37 people, though police have only confirmed 5 murders. If he killed more, their cases remain unsolved. If he's still alive today, he'd be in his 80s or 90s.
In 2004, the San Francisco Police Department marked the case inactive but not closed, meaning if new evidence emerges, they'll pursue it. And in 2025, they are. Forensic genetic genealogy has revolutionized cold case investigations. The Golden State Killer was caught in 2018 using this technique after 40 years. If the Zodiac left enough DNA on those stamps, genetic genealogy could finally reveal his identity.
But here's what haunts investigators. 2 ciphers remain unsolved. The Z13, a 13-character message the Zodiac claimed contained his name, and the Z32, which allegedly reveals the location of a bomb he planted on Mount Diablo. In 2025, an independent researcher named Jen Baber claimed she cracked the Z13, and it revealed the name Marvin Merrill, but no law enforcement agency has verified her solution. The ciphers may be unsolvable, or they may hold the final answer. The Zodiac Killer terrorized California for less than a year. 5 confirmed murders, 2 survivors, and a legend that has lasted 57 years. He inspired the Clint Eastwood film Dirty Harry, the 2007 David Fincher masterpiece Zodiac, and countless books, documentaries, and true crime obsessives. Brian Hartnell, the Lake Berryessa survivor, is still alive. Mike Mageau, who survived Blue Rock Springs, rarely speaks publicly. Both men carry the scars of the Zodiac for life.
This is the evidence room. In the Zodiac case, it stays open. If you have theories about who the killer was or whether the FBI is hiding the truth about Gary Poste, drop them in the comments. Like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more legendary unsolved cases. Until next time, remember, some monsters wear hoods, others wear ordinary faces, and some are never caught at all.